Ladies and gentlemen, Barry C here with another cryptocurrency video, and the market is turning around. XRP is going to start moving rapidly very soon. Now, it's going to be a very interesting end of April heading into May. I think we are very much owed an alt season. And the thing to remember, ladies and gents, is that we've never seen a time in crypto where we haven't seen a bull run, and we've never seen a bull run end without an alt season. It's never happened. Now, what's interesting is that this time period, we should be right now coming to the end of an alt season. We should have been in an alt season from second week of Jan, heading into, end of March, end of April, maybe first week of May. And of course, we've seen a mini bear market. We've seen February, March, and now half of April, where the market has traded sideways, dipped down, traded sideways more, and things are slowly clawing back up. So this means that if we see an alt season kick in very soon, it could be May, June, July. It could maybe last a little bit longer. It's kind of uncharted territory for the moment, but we absolutely are owed an alt season. And within that alt season, XRP is absolutely going parabolic. We've already seen the first leg up in November of 2024. We saw XRP absolutely lead the way. Now, ladies and gents, not financial advice, but I hope that you've used the mini bear market. I hope you've used February, March, and half of April to assess or reassess where you're currently sitting with your crypto holdings. And I hope you have a plan in place, because when things start moving rapidly, it's going to get wild. It's going to get crazy. There's going to be mass euphoria. And you're absolutely going to see people full of regret. We saw this happen in November 2024. Now, for those of you who followed me for quite some time, I've been making almost daily content about XRP and about crypto and where the market was going. And this was based on my experience of being in crypto since 2016. I've seen 2 bull runs before. This was my 3rd. And so for me, I was telling anyone who would listen that my plan was the first leg up is typically end of October heading into November. And of course, for years and years, I was hearing XRP's dead, XRP's not going anywhere, that I had no idea what I was talking about. And then sure enough, we get to November 2024 and suddenly all that negativity evaporates, it disappears. And I never came out and said, I told you so. For me, it was more about the people who had listened to me, who had actually made plans, who had done well, who had prepared themselves for the first leg up for the bull run. Like, that was the most important thing for me, was putting out that type of information and saying, have a plan. Have a short-term, mid-term, long-term plan. Have a plan that involves the first leg up and then the second leg up. And interestingly enough, for 3.5 years, people had more than enough opportunity to buy cheap XRP between 30 cents and 50 cents a coin. And then when November rolled around, that opportunity is now gone forever. And then heading into 2025, initially it was all about, okay, the second leg up is coming, we're about to see an alt season, and then the market takes a bit of a dip. But you know what? XRP never dipped back down to 30 cents or 50 cents. We saw a lot of other cryptos go back to bear market prices, and in some instances, even cheaper than bear market prices. But XRP wasn't one of them. But what did come back was the negativity. And so now people are talking about XRP being dead again, XRP is not going anywhere, that the market is dead, that we're not going to see an alt season. And as quickly as people are proven wrong in November of 2024, that's exactly what's going to happen this time around. People have become complacent. People have willingly sidelined themselves because they get caught up in the negativity, because they can't see the potential of where the market's going, and they can't see the potential of XRP. And these are the same people who get to the height of a bull run and the height of an alt season, and the main sentiment and the main thing that they say is, well, I wish I'd done things differently. That's exactly what happened in November 2024. People had 3.5 years and 2 bull runs worth of charts to look at to see where the market was going. People had so much time to build and grow and to make sure they're in the best position possible to actually make some profits in the first leg up. And instead, a lot of people are rather focused on name calling, focused on the negativity, turned to people like myself who were putting out content saying you have no idea what you're talking about. And sure enough, XRP goes from 30 cents to 50 cents to $1, $2, $2.50, $2.60, $2.70. And the main sentiment is, oh, I wish I'd done things differently. Even the people who supposedly had these massive XRP bags were still not in a position to actually make some profits. And then they got to February, March, and April, and they're all saying the same thing. I wish I'd taken some profits. And these are the same mistakes people make bull run after bull run after bull run. It's been that way since 2017 till now. And also, interestingly enough, ladies and gents, people always say the same thing to me. Well, crypto has been changing a lot and is really different from 2016 till now. Yeah, there may be more money in the crypto space. There may be more cryptos available, and there may be more attention on the crypto space as a whole. But you know what? The mistakes have always been the same. It hasn't changed. I've watched people just make these mistakes over and over again. And that's the reason why I actually started making content in the first place, because there was nobody really addressing solutions or putting out a perspective that could actually help people avoid making these mistakes. Not that I was seeing. And I know because I was making those mistakes when I first started in crypto. And the content creators and the people who I was following, and I was following everyone, whether they were really popular, whether only a few people had heard about them, you name it, I've more than likely consumed that content. And you know what? Nobody was making content like that. And that's the reason why I started making content. And the way I've made content has shifted slightly to what I'm making now. And for me, the most important thing is putting out just a realistic, common sense perspective of where we are and where we're going. And it's not financial advice, ladies and gents. I'm just sharing what I'm doing and highlighting the mistakes that people make over and over again, because maybe it'll help some people out there be educated enough to identify the same mistakes and to avoid those pitfalls and avoid those mistakes. And what people are going to realize until, it'll be too late, but they'll realize it, is that they had this really amazing opportunities in February, March, and April to actually build and grow their bags. And if they couldn't build or grow their bags because they've bought the dip and they've exhausted their resources, which is fair enough, then to just have a plan and to hold and to keep focused. It's one of those things, people have this false idea in their head. They have this weird assumption that they're going to be able to time the market. Despite the fact that crypto moves so rapidly, people feel like they can sideline themselves and they'll go, you know what, I can still buy. I can catch XRP before it skyrockets. Or you know what, I don't have to focus on where XRP is going because I'll be able to take those profits, no problem. And then people always get to the height of an alt season, or they get onto the other side of an alt season when the bear market's kicking in, and people always go, well, I made some mistakes and I'll have to wait 4 years now till the next alt season. Or in a potential scenario, it may not even be waiting for another alt season. It may be people getting into a utility run. And that's even scarier, ladies and gents, because then you're now no longer talking about the volatility and the 4-year cycle of an alt season in the bear market. Now you're talking about banks and financial institutions around the world utilizing and adopting XRP. And now you're no longer talking about, XRP going to $5 or $10 or $20 and then seeing a 50% market correction. Now you're talking about XRP being utilized on a daily basis in all the banks around the world, all financial institutions. And that's when you see XRP skyrocket up. And then now it's worth $100 or $1,000 or maybe more. And you know what? You're not going to see a 50% correction from that point. Banks and financial institutions will not utilize a volatile asset like that. They're not going to utilize something that could lose 50% of its value because of the way the market moves, because somebody put out a post, or because somebody is going to war with another country, or whatever it may be. Whatever causes the unsettle or the unrest, you can't have an asset that responds in such a volatile way being utilized in the way we conduct finance on a daily basis, the way the world conducts finance on a daily basis. It has to be impervious to that. And that's where we're heading. We haven't seen a bank or a financial institution yet willingly admit that they're going to use blockchain technology or crypto in the way they conduct their finance. But a lot of these banks and financial institutions have absolutely tested XRP. We've seen it happen since 2017 till now. Banks around the world have trialed the on-demand liquidity and cross-border payment technology of what XRP can offer. And so when banks and financial institutions get that green light, they're not going to turn elsewhere. They're going to turn to the crypto that they've successfully trialed since 2017, and that crypto is XRP. And you think that the retail investors who make the same mistake over and over again are going to suddenly act differently when there's a lot more money on the line? Absolutely not. People are going to make the same mistakes over and over again unless they take a step back and go, okay, I need to have a plan. And I know that sounds really simplistic, but that's the reality of it. You have to have a look at what you hold when it comes to XRP. And this could work with any crypto, but I'm using XRP as an example because I don't believe there's any other crypto out there that has the same potential of an alt season and a utility run in the way XRP does. And so for me, I've had to look at what my XRP holdings are and go, okay, short-term, mid-term, long-term. Short-term, what can I do profit-taking wise this first leg up of the bull run? What can I do in the second leg up of the bull run with the alt season? How much of my bag am I willing to sell? How much of my bag am I willing to roll over into the next couple of years where we may see a utility run? And then I have to look at, okay, let's say we see a utility run in a year or two. And let's say XRP goes to $100 at first. Okay, what am I going to sell? What am I going to hold on to? Do I want to roll that over to another 5 years from now, maybe 10 years? Does XRP hit $1,000 in 5 years' time? Does it happen sooner? So then I'm looking at my take profit points and going, okay, these are the variety of take profit points that I have that I think are more than likely to happen immediately, mid-term and long-term. And then how much of my bags of XRP am I willing to hold on to? Will there be viable staking or loaning options in the future where you can, have a percentage of your XRP being loaned out to banks or financial institutions to be utilized on the XRP blockchain? Will there be better staking options where you can lock up some of your XRP long-term and earn a passive income off that? There's so many future potential of XRP. There's so much. And so part of that is being willing to hold on to some of your XRP and not take profit. Or in some instances, do you say to yourself, okay, I could really use some profit-taking opportunities right now, and I could really use the money for whatever it may be, whether it's for yourself, your family, your loved ones, whatever it may be. These are all the questions you should be asking why the market's trading sideways. Because I guarantee nobody's asking these questions when everything's going parabolic. And look, we saw this happen in November 2024. It happened so recently. A lot of people who are holding XRP were suddenly confronted with a lot of money, a lot of potential profit. And a lot of people fumbled that opportunity because they were married to this idea of a much higher take profit point for XRP. Nearly every one of those people came out and said they wished they'd actually taken some profit. And if that's the way people are behaving at $2.50, $2.60, $2.70, imagine $10 or $20 or $100 or $1,000. And look, maybe it's easy to take profits at $1,000 per XRP. Maybe it's not. That's part of having a plan. That's why it's so important. And that's why it's so important to do it before there's a lot more money on the table and on the line. It's easy to look at the current price of XRP and look at what your holdings are and go, you know what? It's easy to make decisions. But now times it by 1,000. Let's say now there's millions or tens of millions or more. Now that's up for grabs. And now that's potentially at risk. Are you going to sit back and start going, okay, what's my plan? How am I going to split my bags up? Have I KYC'd all my accounts so I can actually take profit at that level? Have I spoken to my banks? No one's going to be thinking about that. Or if they do, they're going to panic when there's suddenly tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. Whatever the profit is, it's going to be an amount that makes life-changing potential now a reality. And the only way you can make that a reality is actually implementing and executing a plan. And this is something I've spoken about for years and years and years. And that isn't going to change, no matter what anyone says in a negative way. People can turn around and say, XRP is not going anywhere, XRP is dead, we're not going to see an alt season, and all that may be true until it changes. You've heard me say this before, ladies and gents. XRP will be cheap until it's not. And we've already seen that happen in November 2024, and a whole bunch of people made a lot of mistakes and fumbled their XRP bags and their profits, and they're filled with regret. And so now we have a second opportunity coming up. And this opportunity could be life-changing for so many people. And the question you have to ask yourself, and it's the question I ask myself, is, have I put myself in the best position possible to actually take some profits? That's what you should be asking yourself before XRP and the crypto market goes parabolic. Now, as I said, ladies and gents, none of this is financial advice. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And if you're curious about the other cryptos I hold outside of XRP, consider becoming a Patreon. Click the link in the description below, head across to my Patreon page, and consider becoming a Barry C VIP. There you'll have access to all the cryptos I hold, as well as my buy, sell, and take profit signals in real time.